A few years ago, it was announced that there was going to be a live-action horror remake of the classic children's show, Winnie the Pooh. The creators of the film were waiting for the characters to become a public figure, so they wouldn't have to pay for the rights to the character, and once that 100-year threshold was passed, the project began. Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey was recently released, and fans and critics had a lot to say.
We need to go. Laura's dead. There's someone else outside.
In today's video, we're going to be going over what people thought of this film and if its very existence could spawn a new genre of children's tales reimagined as horror films. Stick around because this is going to be a bone-chilling video that horror fans won't want to miss. The idea of a live-action horror film starring Winnie the Pooh seems stupid, but the idea actually had a decent premise. The film is focused on Winnie and Piglet after Christopher Robin has abandoned them and become an adult, essentially leaving them for dead in the 100-acre wood. Winnie and Piglet decide that they must get revenge on Christopher Robin, so they embark on a quest to track down and kill their former friend. The film is hilariously scary as these childhood characters thrive in their new genre. However, the film lacks any ingenuity other than the extreme genre shift. The movie is a fun thrasher flick that gives a few scares and a few laughs as seeing a bloodthirsty Winnie the Pooh is impossible not to giggle at, to be honest. But other than that, the film is not very good. Critics on Rotten Tomato are saying things like, "Oh bother," giving it a 6% critic score out of 100. Audiences don't feel much better about the film, giving it an abysmal 53% audience score out of 100. People seem to have the same idea of the film. Once the hilarity of Winnie the Pooh and Piglet becoming bloodthirsty axe murderers, the film loses all of its luster and is not worth watching. Not very many people are liking the film in any way, shape, or form, and it is clear to see why. The idea is original, but the execution is not. Pooh and Piglet act like any other axe murderer who we've seen, and the dialogue is nothing to remember. The film would be a 0% out of 100 if these characters were not childhood idols from our favorite cartoon. However, that doesn't mean this film was a total bust. In fact, this film may still end up becoming the start of something spectacular. While this film may have been a flop, its existence proved something. People want to see childhood characters and stories remade into more adult versions, and while this first attempt went south, that doesn't have to be the case if more were to be made. The film was made with a relatively low budget and with no standout Hollywood talent, and yet it seemed like the entire world knew about this film. Why? Because people loved the idea and wanted this movie to be a huge success. So if Disney were to use some of their other properties to make horror/thriller reimaginings, they could likely make a killing. Pun intended, by the way. Winnie the Pooh was used first because the character became a public figure, meaning that the studio that made the film could use the property as fair use. But if other Disney characters were to be used in a horror franchise, they would have to have their rights acquired via Disney, which makes it almost impossible for other films of this nature to be created the same way this movie was, which could potentially be a good thing. If these types of movies are actually going to become mainstream, then the budgets and the talent is going to have to increase. And if I had any pull at Disney, I would be pushing to make these films a reality. Disney actually has a goldmine of films that could be reimagined as a horror movie, and the best part about it is, it would cost them so little to do. The writing process would be so short, as the story would only require tweaking rather than a brand new story. Plus, it would widen the net that Disney casts in terms of audience appeal. If they start making horror films, they would corner the film market. They would have animated sci-fi, nature fantasy, superhero, and now horror on lockdown if they moved forward with these types of projects. So what type of movies could become a horror adaptation? For starters, Bambi would be an amazing choice.
Who the hell are you?
I'm Bambi.
After the hunter kills Bambi's mom, he begins to train to have his revenge one day. Bambi and his woodland friends would learn to kill in savage and unimaginable ways so that when they finally catch that hunter, he can suffer a terrible death at the antlers of Bambi. The film could be a truly horrifying spectacle, highlighting the brutality of nature and the consequences of one's actions. With the minds and budget available at Disney, this could be an amazing film. Another potential adaptation would be The Little Mermaid. I know that it is getting an actual live-action adaptation, but that version is based on the Disney version.
Wish I could
Not the original German version. See, the original tale sees the mermaid die a horrible death after the prince realizes that she can never truly be a part of the sea. So he spares himself the heartache and abandons her, and in her heartbreak she turns into sea foam and dies. What if he abandons her due to her lust for the ocean, so she seeks the aid of her mermaid family to form an insurgence against the surface world, seeing a sea versus land war? But mermaids in this movie would closer resemble the horrifying pirate legends rather than the Disney version of them. So yes, they would be initially beautiful with their good looks and delightful voices, but when they get close, their razor-sharp teeth and taste for blood would be enough to scare even the most veteran of horror lovers. The war between the humans and the merpeople would be one for the ages and would most likely make for a fantastic film. Lastly, one of the scariest potential reimaginings would easily be Monsters, Inc.
Morning, Sully.
Morning, Sally.
How you doing, big guy? Hey. Go get him, Mr. Sullivan. Quiet. You're making him lose his...
Imagine having a human girl accidentally wander into the monster world, but instead of smiling monsters just trying to do their work, it is a dark world full of bloodthirsty monsters who are desperately trying to get back to the human world through portals. In the children's movie, the portals are doors that lead to children's bedrooms, and while that could be the same in this version, the doors are scattered all around this wasteland and the monsters kill each other in search of doors. The movie would see this lost girl struggle to find her way home, accompanied by a brave but rather defenseless Mike Wazowski-like monster. This version of Mike Wazowski also wants to find a door so he can leave this wretched world, as he knows he will never be able to survive. Together, the two of them must traverse this dangerous land. Can you imagine a scene in which a Sully-like monster goes toe-to-toe with a Randall-like lizard monster? What a movie, right? That's all we have for you guys today on the channel. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Which of these reimaginings would be your favorite? Which Disney films do you think would work for a horror adaptation? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. While you're at it, don't forget to leave a like on the video and to subscribe to the channel for more videos just like this one. Also, you can go ahead and ring the bell so you never miss an upload from us. We hope you enjoyed today's content, and we will see you all in the next video.